to own it. Just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
Welcome to the Everything Sparkle Show. Dina, I am very excited to have you on today.
Thank you so much for having me. Oh, it's such a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, it's a pleasure to meet you. You're my East Coast girl. You live in New York. Where do you live now? Are you live in Canada or New York?
I am Canadian. I live in Canada.
Did you ever live in New York, or you just model live there?
I come into New York for acting and auditions and stuff, but I live in Canada.
So where at? What part of Canada?
I live in Ottawa, the capital of Canada.
What's the weather like right now?
It is cold. And that's not new news, right? It's always cold here. It hasn't been, we had a few nice warm days, but these days it's been a little bit cooler than what we would want.
Oh my. So what's your hair? What's with your hair?
I was going to wear a furry hat for you.
I love it. I love your hair though, by the way. I wish I could get my hair to do that, where it is on top and then goes at the bottom. Is it layered?
No, this is my COVID hair. It grew. I used to have a lot shorter hair, but now because of COVID, it's been growing and I kind of like it. I've adopted a longer hairstyle.
It's good. It's nice.
Thank
so
you.
Modeling, tell us about your modeling career. How old were you when you got into that?
Oh, I have a very unique story for modeling.
I love it.
Okay. It's a very interesting story because it started when I was very young. I was 10 years old when I first started to have an interest in modeling, and my sister and I would talk about it. Like, I have a sister who's 10 years older than me. So she was closer like a mom, in my life. And so I was 10 and she was 20. And so she would ask me, what do you want to do? Like, do you ever think about modeling? And I'm like, she goes, you have big lips. Maybe modeling would be good. And I was inspired by a friend of my mother's daughter who was a model, who was absolutely stunning. So I wanted to model. And then I started when I was 12. My sister found an ad in the newspaper for the modeling school. They were having a sale. And I remember the price. It was $180 for the course. We were so excited because it was on sale. And so, I'm the last of 4 in my family. And so my sister called the agency up and got me into the course.
Wow. Okay, so this was in Canada, right?
Yeah. And so I took the modeling course, which was amazing because I actually teach the course now. And I'm modeling.
Exciting.
Yeah. And so I took this course and I was only 12 years old. And, girls, when they're 12, they want to get into makeup. They want to get into fashion. And, I wasn't wearing makeup correctly. Oh, excuse me. That's my alarm for you. And so this course taught me how to, wear makeup and wear clothing, and it teaches you how to pose and teaches you how to walk on the runway, and it also teaches you how to walk in high heels, which is really good for young ladies, right? And I was just focused on modeling at the beginning. That was all I could think about. I thought, oh my God, anybody who didn't want to be a model, I feel sorry for them. That was.
Were you tall? How tall were you at the time?
Oh, I'm not that tall, actually. For modeling, I'm only about 5'7".
Oh, wow. So how was it? I mean, was it ingrained in you that you were a little too short for modeling? How did it work out for you?
Well, this is another message I have for young upcoming talent. You've got to always believe in your dream. And I just stuck to believing in my dream. And I didn't care about my height. I didn't care about anything. I just loved modeling so much. And I believed in myself and perseverance. And little by little, it's not nothing's instant. You have to work very hard to get anything, as you know well, even as an actor, as anything, you have to work at it. You have to learn your trade, but you can't give up your dream. So I was actually told that I wasn't going to be a professional model. I was told by by the agency's director that I had no chance and that I should just give up. I had a gap between my teeth. I was like 12 years old. I was so heart-wrenched when she said that.
They want a lot of models with a gap between the teeth. Some of the best models have that. That's funny that was a hindrance.
I know. I was just this young, like larva stage young lady. And this like director told me, oh, you have no chance. And I was just, you know, what am I going to do? I love it so much. And I just love the idea of being a model. And so I just perseverance. I kept at it. I did test shoots. I tried to appeal to other agency staff. I tried to get involved with designers or anybody who had, like even other photographers who had an interest in the industry. And little by little, it's funny, my teeth grew together. And I was able to remain in the agency. And I got a few jobs, which was somehow a miracle. And then a client from Japan came when I was 15 years old, and they wanted me to go to Tokyo or Osaka, excuse me, to work under contract in Japan. And that's how my career started. It took 4 years of perseverance. And
so
then
how old were you when that happened to Japan? Were you 16?
I went when I was 16, but I was recruited when I was 15.
How exciting. Was your mom okay with that? You going to another country?
That was another story. I'm Italian. I have, you know, my mom and dad are Italian, and it didn't sit well with them. But
not.
But I wasn't going to give up. I was like, if you don't let me go, I'm going to be the worst daughter, you know? And so, yeah, they let me go. I went by myself.
Wow. You had no supervision?
Nope. I went by myself. And that was the first time I ever went into an airplane. But of course, everything was very legitimate. The airplane ticket was sent to us by the agency, and you have to get a proper visa made through the agencies. And this is very important for anybody who's interested in modeling, you know, to get proper paperwork, because that makes it legitimate and they can track that person, right? But if you go on your own to a foreign country and say, I want to be a model, that could be pretty dangerous.
Especially nowadays with the human trafficking and stuff.
Exactly, yes. Yes.
So they provided the paperwork. Okay. What agency was this with at the time?
At the time, it was an agency called Cosmopolitan.
Okay.
And they were situated in Kobe, Sanomiya, and that was close to Osaka. So it was about a 30-minute train ride into Osaka. And then I had to wake up super early every day to take this 30-minute train to Osaka to go to work. And there was no cell phones and stuff like that. We were given faxes and maps sent to us, and we had to follow maps, and I couldn't understand a word of Japanese.
Did you learn any of it while you were there?
Yes, I did. I stayed there for a very long time, Sparkle. I was I lived in Japan for like 20 years.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I worked there they loved me. I was very successful in Japan. I was very lucky. Yeah. I really had a great time there, and I was able to learn the language, and I actually hosted my own show there, teaching English on television for a short period.
So exciting. What made you decide to come back then?
Well, of course, you know, you get older and they really like a young look in Japan. And so my career was slowly there. Like, they like girls who are 16, like, you know, early 20s. And
I've always heard that your modeling career is like 16 to 19. And then
well, you know, and, you know, little by little, my work was decreasing. I was doing more adult stuff there already. I already was doing adult stuff at a very young age. I guess I have a look that was always similar. Like, I looked adult, like I was 16, but I was going on 26 when I was 16 kind of thing. I do have my first modeling picture I could show you if you'd like to see.
I love that. Oh,
okay. So this is my very first modeling shoot. I'm 12 in this picture.
That's so adorable. You were beautiful.
Just a young, you know, really young. Like,
that is so 90s. I love it.
Black and white. And they had something called contact sheets. We don't do that anymore because
yes, I remember those days.
See? And so this is how I started with just these little pictures like this. I was 12 years old, and then you build your book, and then little by little you practice with photographers and the agencies. And that's why it's really, I think, safer for young girls to, if they're going to want to model, is to do things through an agency, because the agency has connections that are legitimate and safe. And you hear of a lot of horror stories, people trying to do it on their own by contacting people or trying to make a network by themselves. However, if you end up with the wrong person somehow as a young girl, it could end up pretty bad. And you've heard stories like that, I'm sure.
Right.
So,
did you do a lot of print stuff, or did you do runway stuff as well?
I actually teach runway, and I do a lot of runway, but I'm not tall. So
were you tall for Japan? Is that why they wanted you? Because I bet you were taller than a lot.
Yes, for Japan, I'm considered taller. However, a lot of Japanese models are quite tall. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I teach modeling at the school, so I'm really good at teaching runway. So I taught a couple of young girls who are like, up and coming, like 14, 15, and I teach them runway, and some of them got contracts to go work in France. And I teach them the walk of the Givenchy, or, I love teaching runway. I wish I was taller. I would have loved to have been an international runway model. That would have been amazing. But 5'7", it's kind of not tall enough.
Oh, I think your career is amazing right now. I mean, did you ever go to college or study anything, or was it just all modeling at that point?
My entire career has been modeling and acting. I have never.
I mean, that's exciting. When people don't jump into their job, especially, it's like seeing and get to stay in that spot and get to make a career and a living off of it. That's really impressive.
Yeah, I was very lucky. And I also had the opportunity to go work in Japan under contract. And then they would just, because I was so into learning the language, and I love different cultures. I'm the type of free-spirited, kind of non-judgmental type. So I like to learn things. I go there and I'm like, I want to learn how to speak Japanese. So first I started off by learning colors, numbers, animals, and then little by little sentences, and then I was able to host a show. And then I also got hired to work in a couple of feature films in Japan. But I can't. Did
you speak the language in the films, or were they American films that you used?
One of the films that was in, no, they were Japanese films. I just had a.
Did you pass as Japanese? Because I could kind of see it. I was wondering if you.
No, I'm Italian, like I said, but that's probably why I did well in Japan, is because I have a look that people see me as a bit Asian.
Yeah, a tiny bit. I guess. So did you play like that in your characters in these movies? Were you playing Japanese?
I think they saw me as a mixture of foreign and Japanese mostly. And that was very big in Japan, to have girls that looked a hint Japanese. It was, They loved that. They loved the dark hair, fair skin, dark eyes, like you, Sparkle. You would do quite well there too.
Oh, I'd love to visit. I mean, that just sounds so exciting.
Yeah.
So acting now, tell me about the transition. Now it's like you're acting almost more than you're modeling at this point, right?
It's about equal right now, but I'm very busy. I just got another audition today from my agent in Montreal. So I'm working on a project right now. I just finished a film a couple of days ago about COVID, and it was a very beautiful story. And I worked with a very nice French actress. She's much younger than me. She's like early 20s, and her name is, let me see. She has a name that's hard for me to remember, but it's Nahema Ricci, and she's main character in this film, and she's doing wonderful. And I played the part of her friend, and an honor working with her. And it's a movie called Everything Will Be All Right. So,
is it for Lifetime?
Pardon?
Is it the movie for Lifetime? I know they film a lot of Lifetime movies in that area of Canada, right?
Right. This is Lifetime. This is a dramatic Lifetime.
I cannot wait to watch this. I love the Lifetime channel, so I'm just like, do we know the date it's coming out?
Not yet. Not yet. I just finished filming it. I
know they bang those movies out fast, so I'm hoping it's going to come out like this year, because I know that they kind of do that.
Oh, I think I misunderstood Lifetime. Lifetime. Is that a channel?
Oh yeah.
Right. No.
You probably don't have the internet. It's probably called something else.
Sorry, I misunderstood. I thought you meant like Lifetime, like the times we live in Lifetime. But
Oh, like is it a true story?
I believe it is.
Oh, okay.
It touches base with COVID. People are wearing masks in the film and everything.
That's cool. We haven't had that yet. So do you know where it's coming out that we could see it though? Is it?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to keep on you. I'm going to watch your social media all the time. As early as it comes out, I'm going to be watching that. That's gonna be fun.
I try to refrain from posting things until like I get complete permission from everyone.
I understand that. No, I get that. I'll just be watching. We'll all be watching. Everyone needs to follow you. I'm following you, and it's really fascinating to see all the things that you're doing. And I can see you being such an inspiration to people because I have never met anybody I think on the show that's like started their career at 16 and instead. I think I might be first, or the very few amount of people that have. So that's
like I said, I was very lucky. When I got back to Canada, I didn't have an agency. I didn't have a job. I was going to quit actually. I went to school and I studied medical aesthetics. And I started.
You go to school. You didn't go to college.
Yes, I did. When I got back from Japan, I did a.
Oh, so you did it later in life?
Yeah. I studied medical aesthetics and I took a 3-year course and I started working with a doctor and then I quit because my modeling started getting busy again. When you're working with a doctor, there's a schedule and there's patients that come in certain times. And if I couldn't say, hey, I have an audition today. I've got
I was going to understand.
And so I saw that my modeling started to get busy again. And Dr. Rice wanted me to stay. And I said, well, look, I really want to do this though. Like I thought I wouldn't be busy here. And then I started to get back into modeling and it got busy again. So I'm very lucky that.
What made you get into that? I mean, you were teaching English to the Japanese. You're kind of running that modeling class right now. What made you think, oh, let me just switch gears and get into the medical field?
Well, when I came back here, I didn't have any connections here because I was gone for so long. I didn't think that I would be able to model here. I didn't know what was in here.
Well, why you didn't get into like teaching Japanese, like or teaching that since you had experience?
I don't know. I was in Canada. I don't think the Japanese language. I've never used it since I've been here. I haven't for it. I might return to Japan someday and use it again, but for now in Canada, I needed to find an occupation, right? And so I thought, wow, maybe I'll get into medical, work with a doctor, do something.
It just sounds so hard from everything you were doing. That's just such a big switch, but that's probably good. It probably will come in handy eventually for your acting career, I imagine, having that background.
Yeah, the terminology. Medical, because I like doing doctor roles or roles that are related.
Right. I could see that. That's actually going to come in handy for you.
Yeah.
So what have you been into? I know you've been acting semi since you've come back here. Have you done anything that we've seen or what's some of your roles?
I've done a few short films and I've done a ton of commercials, but I know that commercials not really like acting, but it's a very slow transition that I'm doing. And it's very hard because I have a base for modeling, but the networking for acting, it takes a while and it takes a long time to get good at the craft. I don't want to come into acting and not be good at it. So I've been practicing a lot and studying a lot and taking a lot of workshops and working on the craft mostly. I think that's very important to do before you start working. So now I'm just doing films, I'm just starting to get work.
And the film you just finished, it was a feature film, right? The COVID movie?
Right. Yes.
And you like that a little bit more than doing the short film circuit?
I like the short films, though. There are some really, really nice short films, really good, well-written short stories that I've been in. I'm creating a reel right now, and I wanted to send it to you, but it's under construction at the moment.
I know you're a perfectionist. I can only imagine you said that, like, oh, this girl, she has to get it just perfect.
Well, I don't want to start off with the left foot. I want to start with the right foot and get things done properly. And I hope to get Like, I'm really looking to get a part on a television series that's reoccurring. That would be a dream for me. That would be
on a doctor show. That's where they need you.
I love horror. I heard that you did horror movies. And hey, I'm a huge Bates Hotel fan, or American Horror Story. I watched all that. I became a better actor after I watched American Horror Story.
Really? I love American Horror Story. That's actually one of my favorite shows. That you feel like you became a better actor after that.
Yeah. Yep. American Horror Stories, Jessica Lange. Come on. It's the best.
I mean, it's amazing. I think she's great. Yeah. So you might want to even do the horror film circuit.
I would love to. I love horror films. I like horror films when they have a lot of story to them, though. They're quite interesting. That's why I think I enjoyed watching Bates Hotel and American Horror Stories, because there was quite an interesting story background to each, small story.
Right. No, I like those too. But it's funny. I never wanted to do horror. I like doing comedy, and I just kind of got stuck in horror. I love it now, but it's like it wasn't. Even though I love horror movies, I never wanted to be. But now it's fun. You kind of get into that, and you're like, now it's fun.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I love it. It's so entertaining. And
yeah, you never get another chance in life to be that character. So that it makes it, when you think about it, it's like it is more fun than anything.
Exactly.
Anything else. So, right, how long did it take you to get your agent then? Like you said, you had no connections. You came back here, and did you just audition for the agent that you have now for acting?
Yeah, well, I just recently got picked up by a new agent. It's LMO Talent. And I had an agent for him, but sadly, he passed away just recently.
Oh, okay.
He was wonderful. His name was Abiel. His last name was Abiel, Shimon Abiel, and he had passed away. And then after he passed away, Ian Elamo, who's the name of my agent now, he looked me up and he asked me, hey, would you like to join my agency? And I said, sure. And he's new and upcoming. He's quite good, and he's so professional and such a nice guy. I'm very fortunate to have him represent me. Yes.
That's incredible. So how long did it take you from that? You moved back here, you went to doctor school. Did you get an agent in transition between all that? Were like acting on the side while you were going to school to be a doctor? Or no?
Oh, no, I was doing nothing for acting or modeling when I was going to school. I came here. I didn't even, I lived with my parents. I was living the American dream, or the Italian dream, I should say, living with my parents. Now I live beside my parents, but that's
I bet they loved having you back though after being in Japan for so long.
Yeah, I got to reconnect with my parents, which was wonderful, and So
then what happened? Okay, so you were going to the school in the medical field, and then why did you like, I'm going to start acting again? Was it by chance, or you just missed it?
Well, yes. What happened was I went to school. I took a 3-year course in 1 year. So I did a speed thing. I went to school every single day for a year.
So you were focused. It was like, I'm going to bang this out. And then, okay.
They have these crammed courses where you can take a 3-year course in 1 year. It's not recommended. It was so intense. Like I was just dying. It's like 9 to 5 even on Christmas, they would have you come in.
It makes my brain hurt, Dina.
I did not enjoy that year. And then I started working after I got out of school. I started working at the doctor's office, like I told you. And then I just thought, what if I could, have another modeling job? Wouldn't that be cool, right? So I looked around at the agencies in my hometown, and I rung a doorbell, and then they said, sure. And then I started getting jobs. I was surprised. And then I have my home agent in Montreal right now, who is amazing. I'm with Specs in Montreal.
So you have your acting agent and then your modeling agent.
I started with modeling first. I didn't have an acting agent until recent. I was doing modeling because I didn't have any idea of how I'm going to make a comeback in my hometown, because I didn't have any connections. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any friends. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do with my life when I got back, because I was just so well connected in Japan. And then everything that I did I would only come back once a year when I was living in Japan.
Did your family go out and visit you?
I did have my parents come visit me for their anniversary. That was a gift from me to them. I brought them over, and my sister and my brother came to visit me. And right before I left, just to see Japan, and then that was it. And
Wow.
I'm here.
You mentioned to me at one point you have a boyfriend that models as well.
No.
Or you don't have any friends that you don't have? I thought you had somebody else that was modeling and acting as well. It's just you?
It's just
you. Did you date anybody in the industry when you were over in Japan? Did you guys all like hang out together, or is it kind of a separate world?
Well, at the very beginning, this is how they have you do it. They invite you to come work in Japan. They give you a contract. You get your visa. You come over, and they put you in these model apartments.
Okay, so you're with your people. You guys overall have the same.
We're all living together. It's like ABC House. That was the name of our apartment.
What? You know, that's really awesome. So was there other underagers like you? Was there a lot of like teenagers?
Yes, we were all young.
That is so fun.
Yeah, at the time, 16 was pretty young. Usually they have girls come in that are 18, 19, 20, around that age. And I was kind of young, but we all lived in apartments together, and they kind of took care of me. We kind of take care of each other. We would go out together. We would go on auditions together. And
they're competitive though, because you guys are going out for the same stuff, or you guys kept that at bay? Well,
when I was really young, I didn't see it that way. But as you get older, and because the first year I went to Japan, I was only 16. I didn't even understand why I was there. Like, it was kind of like, wow, this is really, I started crying when I got off the airplane. Like, this place is, I'm like, what have I done? I called my mom crying. My mom goes like this to me. I'll tell you this. I called my mom and I told her, Mom, I don't know if I can handle this. This is so hard. Like, this looks crazy. And, for a young girl like Japan, whoa. And my mom goes, you have to just work and do your best. She didn't say come home, or I was expecting, oh, are you okay? But no, just work, do your best. Don't give up. Ka-ching. And I was like, okay. And I got over it. I stopped crying, and I was crying because I had to leave because I loved it so much at the end.
Wow, what an interesting journey. This is inspirational. Do you tell this to like the girls that you said you're help coaching at that modeling studio? Do you tell them like these experiences?
Yes. Yeah. I that's how I try to inspire them to, go for their dreams. Is I tell them stories about how it was and what to do and how to be. And, I try to give them pointers on how to never give up on their dreams, because I was literally told that I wasn't going to be successful to my face from the beginning. And and then I just got contract after contract delivered to me in Japan. And I was very, very fortunate. But at the same time, I had to earn it. It was hard work. It wasn't easy. Like going on auditions, sometimes you'd get 10 auditions in a day. And we didn't have a car. We had to take the train and walk. We were in excellent shape because we had to go to every single audition on foot and carry your book. And if you'd lose your book, it was the end of your life. Like, my gosh, if I lose my book, what do I do? But, we didn't have iPads and that yet.
Right. Did you meet like celebrities during this whole adventure?
Yeah, I worked with a lot of Japanese celebrities doing commercial films and short films and television shows. And even some print work. I worked with several Japanese famous people like Nakamura Masatoshi, Izumiya Shigeru. I worked with, I can't even remember the names. They're like some singers and stuff like that. I wish I could find some of the work that I've done. I did this one gig where they had me on TV, and they recreated a very old movie. It was like a 1940s black and white horror film. Mm-hmm. I was the damsel in distress. They had me wear a dress and my hair was up and my makeup was very like, old movie star black and white makeup. And then they would have this guy with like, he was the Grim Reaper, and he had this like, the hook like the thing that you do the wheat with. I don't know what they're called.
Right. No, I just
Slicing
yeah.
it off kind of knife. He had that and he's chasing me with it. I'm like, ah.
Oh, I'd love to see that. I mean,
That was well done.
They know how to make a horror movie, so they're like the pros.
They were recreating an old horror movie, but it was really well done. It was in black and white, and it was excellent. Like I remember seeing it. I just don't have the footage. I would have loved to have shown you this footage, but
oh wow. Well, we're gonna keep up with everything you're doing, Dina, on every social
thank you.
because you are exciting. You're a breath of fresh air, and thanks so much for coming on my show.
You know what? I am so glad to meet you. You're a breath of fresh air. You make everybody so happy, Sparkle. Your name is true to you. You sparkle. You're wonderful.
Thanks so much, Dina.
Yeah, thank you.
Discussion, I'm busting this automatic combustion from gun battlements, styles and bodies dropping like fuck 'em. If you're ready for war, then mask up and we'll watch 'em. We'll start with hate and rap. Now taste the blood, motherfucker. Children through the children, back dreams of terrorism and streets. Of major cities and screams of where's our freedom extinct. You're just a slave, higher powers are paid. While we're minimum wage until you're in your grave. And I will not bow down to these motherfuckers, no way. Always live your lives like we saw day. And everybody will see that the damn your property and work until the day you die with this American greed. Lyrical combat, that bomb shit, nonsense fed through media, fuck 'em, squash that. White House, white lies, cover up, blind eyes, sewn shut. Control American minds, stand up and fight these motherfuckers, prime time. Safety off, get it poppin', who on my side? Yeah, we're marching the streets, we all just puppets on strings, so get your middle fingers high. Everybody follow me. I will not bow down to these motherfuckers, no way. Always live your lives like we saw day. And everybody will see that the damn your property and work until the day you die with this American greed.
Welcome to Everything Sparkle Subliminal. I'm excited to finally have you on. I've been trying to get you for like a year.
I know it. Well, here I am.
Oh my gosh. So I met you. I gotta tell everybody like how I met you. I met you because you were opening for
Crazy Town.
Crazy Town. No, and then I'd seen Shifty. That was like the third time I actually had met Shifty. And like where was it? It was in like Visalia or Tulare or something. One of those towns.
We were in Fresno when we met.
You were close to Fresno. You were like even in the outskirts of Fresno. It was like a bar in the outskirts. I think it was Visalia or Tulare, but yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, it was close to it. And then it was really cool. I mean, you were awesome. We hung out with Shifty again. You guys were just really down to earth. And I mean, tell us about like the beginning of your career and what like led to that. And then we'll talk about what you're doing now.
What led to touring with Crazy Town?
Yeah.
To make a super long story short, I have a friend of mine, a friend of our band's, who is a promoter in Clarksville, Tennessee. And we were kind of popping out here or whatever, dropping videos and new music. And he asked us if we wanted to open for Crazy Town in Alabama. So we drove to Alabama, opened a show for them. And then me and Shifty just became really good friends and stayed in contact for quite some time until the 20th anniversary of Gift of Game. And then he asked, hey, you guys want to do the national tour? So
were you shocked?
I was pretty shocked. Yeah, that was crazy.
Okay, and I forget, did you know who they were before you toured with them, or were you like?
Yeah, I've known Crazy Town since I was younger.
Oh, thank goodness. Yeah, well, I mean, I've known them since the beginning, so it's just I never always wonder because you're on the younger side. I was like, did you grow up with them or like?
Yeah, that Butterfly song was everywhere when I was younger. So
awesome. So then, did that kind of launch you guys to the next level after that tour?
It did, and then shortly after that tour, coronavirus happened. So
I know.
Yeah, it's put a damper on a whole lot of people.
But sometimes did it ever give like new people to discover who you were that maybe you did before?
Sure.
Because you have no choice but to sit down. You're gonna watch new television or listen to new music. I mean.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we met a lot of new fans and gained a lot of new followers off of touring. So it was an awesome experience, and we appreciate our boys in Crazy Town letting us do that. We were gonna do it again until the pandemic happened. So
have you been recording this whole time?
We have not been the whole time. When we got back off tour, it wasn't very, very long after, maybe 5 or 6 months, and we started hearing about everything shutting down, especially in California and stuff. And that led to our studio being shut down, venues being shut down. So we had to take pretty much a year break because we weren't able to do anything except for just get together as the band.
Well, why didn't you guys record music during that time?
That's what I'm saying. Our studio was shut down. We couldn't record.
Oh man. Okay. So is it open again now? Or are you guys looking?
Yeah. Everything in Nashville. I don't know about other places, but everything in Nashville is kind of letting up a little bit, and they're starting to let more things open up and more people get out and stuff.
So I went to Nashville in the beginning of April. Were you there? I should have hit you up.
I'm always in Nashville.
I should have hit you up. No, I went. It was such a quick trip because I went to Kentucky. So I went to Nashville for the weekend with my best friend from college. And I absolutely love Nashville. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking. I think it's one of the best cities in the United States, honestly. I absolutely loved it. I'm a big fan of Nashville.
Have you been here before that?
No, this is my first time. That's what I'm saying. I absolutely loved it. It was the greatest time ever. And everything was open. No one was wearing a mask. I had my 2 shots, so I could be a little bit more vocal about it. But my friend told me a lot of things never kind of, she goes, everything kind of stayed open. Because she said her daughter was always going to school the whole time. Her husband was working remotely for a little bit. But she said a lot of things were staying open. You could still kind of always go to like restaurants. Was that true or not really? Or just depend what industry you were in?
It really depends on what county you were in.
Okay.
So a lot of states were shutting down as a whole, and Tennessee kind of just said, we're going to do whatever we want. So some places were closed. There's still, I could go in a place right now without a mask on, and then you walk into some stores and they will freak out and insist you put one on. So it's real iffy. So wherever you go, it's different.
Are you big in that? Were you big in Nashville before Crazy Town, before everything? Like, what's your love like in Nashville? What's your fan base like?
So I actually started doing hip hop music before I was in the band, and I've done a whole lot in Nashville as a hip hop artist. So when I started the band, I took a while off from doing hip hop music. I started the band, and the band kind of rebranded myself and started a whole new thing. So it was like a different crowd was coming for that. So yeah, a little bit. And then when I started the punk rock band or whatever, everything changed, and it was a whole different crowd of people that were following us. And we got pretty pretty big around here before the tour, and then the tour just helped.
I would think so. I love the people in Nashville. It seems like they're really supportive of their musicians. That's why I was like, you must have been pretty well known in your town before you like became, well known nationally.
Right.
Do you have some international love? I assume you have a little bit, but did Tour with Crazy Town help that little in the international buzz?
It did, from them just sharing us and us being on their Instagram. We were getting followers from all over the place, so that was really cool.
That's cool. That's cool. Like your guys are like friends like that, and Shifty just calls you up and like, hey, let's do this. Let's jam out.
Yeah, I still keep in contact with those guys quite often. So.
What's the next step from here?
The next step from here, right now, I am learning to do music videos by myself. I want to so I can record hip hop music because it doesn't take drum mics and all this extra crazy stuff. So I've been doing my own music, putting a solo album out just for time being. And then the band and I are going to get together and work on a new project and almost kind of start from scratch because we've been, stagnant for so long because of the coronavirus. So now we're going to try to put brand new music out and kind of just kick it back off and try to pick up where we left off, try to get back doing shows and videos and all that.
Wow. So you're doing the videos by yourself. That's a big challenge to tackle.
It is. I did my first one not long ago. It's interesting.
Okay, so tell us right now. Right now you're with that band. So you're gonna tour with the band, or are you gonna tour as a solo artist? Who are all the people you're gonna tour with?
I'm gonna definitely try to tour with my band. I can rap all day long, but there's nothing like having a band of guys with you. So I'm gonna definitely try to tour with them. I might do a couple solo shows doing the hip hop stuff, but I'm mostly focused on
the punk band.
Head Trauma, the band. So
okay, so Head Trauma, the punk band. So what was the band before? You said before you got into the punk band scene, wasn't there another band?
There was not another band. This is the first band I've been in.
Okay.
It was just me as a solo artist, and I was doing. I worked a lot with Tech Nine.
That's right. I remember you said okay.
Yeah, I worked a lot with Tech Nine, a whole lot of other artists, 3-6 Mafia members, and so I've done a lot before the band. And then the band, it was so cool because I was doing a bunch of hip hop stuff, and then when I got in the band, we were playing with heavy artists. So I've been on shows with the whole spectrum.
Well, what do you prefer though? Do you enjoy hip hop more or doing?
Performing, there's no touch in the band. It's way more entertaining and fun, and the crowd's more responsive, and you can get a little more wild when you have a full group on stage.
Nice. And that's cool that the band still all wants to be together and no one broke up, because I've been interviewing a lot of bands lately and they always have they're getting a new drummer, they're getting this and that. You guys are still the original?
Yeah, I mean, all bands go through problems, especially going through tours, because you're together every single day and you kind of get sick of each other a little bit. But me and my guys grew up together. We've known each other since we were kids, so we're all pretty close. We're more like brothers than we are just a band of guys.
That's nice. That's good. You guys formed that camaraderie. Where did you guys get together in the first place? How did you I'm going to join this group?
Well, actually, my drummer was playing for a heavy metal band with my little brother, and I was doing hip hop music. And one day, I was just like, you know what? Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit, all these guys are rappers. They have rock bands, and that's what I want, because I'm more of a fan of 90s rock music and the new metal that came out in the 2000s, Crazy Town, stuff like that. So they had split up. My guitar player had lived with me at the time, and I was like, man, let's just make this a live show. So started practicing. They learned a couple of my songs and took it from there.
So your brother, do you ever play with him?
I do not. He plays crazy music. It's real. It's real fast and heavy.
You guys have different musical tastes because you're both.
Time.
What's he in now? Is he in a band that's notable?
He's not in a band that's notable now. He was in a band called Animality out of Nashville, and they got pretty big in the metal scene. So right now he's kind of doing his own thing. Like I said, nobody's recording out here and all this stuff. Unless you're independent. If you're independent, you can record yourself. People are still working. But if you go to a studio, then.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense. So right now, the song that I put out the other day on Instagram, was that like one of the newest efforts that you guys came out with? And how did you come out with that if you were recording together?
That was the one you shared the other day. That was the first hip hop video I've ever filmed by myself and edited.
Okay. So how'd you do it? Did you use their parts and then put it in, or you just
No, they're not in
they're not
the
in
one
to tell you? Okay.
Yeah. The one I sent you the other day is just me. The one I just sent you a little while ago is my whole entire band.
Yeah.
I had my guitar player help film the one with just me, and then it's kind of cool because the editing software for a video that I've never looked at before until the other day is similar to doing music. It's kind of the same layout. So I was kind of familiar with, okay, this goes here, etc. And then I just started clicking buttons until I figured it out. And there you go. It's out now.
That's so cool. Are you guys ever gonna do an international tour? Have you guys talked about it?
Oh, we would love to. I would love to do a show, period, right now. And a lot of stuff.
I'm drinking the same thing. It's just diet. I love how we're both sporting Dr. Pepper.
Fat kid. We're going to get sponsored. Yeah, I would love to do a show, period, right now. A lot of people are starting to book concerts again in Nashville. Last year, everything that was booked got canceled. So nobody, like, I didn't even bother trying to book a concert.
So when I was in Nashville, I saw I went to the clubs the first time where I saw you have a different band on every floor, and that's what was super cool about it. So can you go and do that, or is that weird to do at this point since you're your name?
That is more for like bar bands and
people that do cover songs.
Right.
So if you just went in and started doing original music, people would be like, "What the heck is this?"
Especially doing like punk rock in a country, predominant country city, it would be kind of shocking for a lot of people.
Well, I noticed a lot of like the floors were like 90s music, and then the music that we like, they were doing a lot of those music, like that music, but I know that it was all covers, so I get like why that would be kind of like weird. So where did you perform in Nashville? Where did people see you?
I've performed at the Exit Inn, which is a legendary venue that's right. It's not like directly downtown. It's not on Broadway or anything. It's up a little ways. Marathon Music Works, which is a huge venue. We've performed at little spots around, but those two are the main venues that we would perform at in Nashville.
What was one of the biggest venues that you've ever performed at, like with Crazy Town? What was like one of the biggest? How many people were in that audience?
The biggest performance I've ever done would probably be Marathon Music Works, and I think it holds like 2,500, 3,000, sold out. But I mean, with the band we've played, I couldn't even tell you some of the venues we played in on tour because it was so much. We didn't have a day off. It was every single day we were performing. So I stayed awake for like a month. So,
I can only imagine. It's probably like 2 hours of sleep there and on the bus, and I'm sure that wasn't fun.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Okay, so can I ask you a kind of personal question? You don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but
you can ask me whatever you want.
People wonder like how much you get paid as an opening artist. I mean, is it just enough to like live off of while you're on the road? Do you have some money saved from that time? How does it you don't tell me an exact number, but how does it work?
Normally, you get an advance, and then you get a daily pay. Sometimes you get, if a venue has a kitchen, you'll get free, a free meal or whatever for your group. And then most of it is hustling merchandise. So if you're gonna tour, if you're gonna do music, merchandise.
That's where it's all from. Okay.
That's where most of your stuff will come from.
And a lot of them give you free drinks at the bar, right?
Yes. or people buying them for you, but yeah, I don't think we pay for many drinks on the road.
Right. Okay. So there was just a daily stipend. So did you guys do well on the merch the whole time?
Yeah, I think we left with. I couldn't tell you how much we left with, but I know we only came back with like one duffel bag full of all of our stuff, and we were selling like 4 or 5 different style T-shirts. We had hats and stickers, and I think we had tote bags and all kinds of stuff. We didn't come back with much at all.
Wow. So when you guys get together to rehearse, everybody lives in Nashville, all 4 of you?
Yeah.
You guys? So you guys all live there. So you guys do get together like weekly to practice, or?
Not so much. We used to, like when we were getting ready for tour, it was like a every other day thing. Now it's kind of just when everybody can get together because all of us are doing different things and we're real busy and trying to stay alive while we're not touring and stuff. So
what do you guys do when you're not touring? Is there like another source of income?
yeah, when we came back from tour, we were all just kind of hanging out, waiting for the next one. The pandemic hit. I started running out of money because I have a problem. I like buying expensive things. So I actually work in a mechanic shop now. And my other guys, got 9-to-5 jobs. So we're all just trying to stay afloat for time being.
They're gonna get so mad when you get a tour and you guys are gonna like drop all those jobs.
I mean, we make it well aware. We're not going to do anybody like that.
Everyone knows that it's coming. They're gonna lose you.
Right.
So music videos, when's it gonna be like when you guys get together to do a big music video like the one that you sent me?
So I want to, like I said, I love doing independent stuff. So I'm going to try to get better doing my hip hop. I'm going to try to get more in depth with the programs and the camera and this and the other. And I kind of want to build my own thing and try to just stay completely independent. I record myself. I would love to record my band. It's going to take, some time to get everything situated and learn.
You guys aren't signed with a label.
We are not, no.
And you never were the whole time that you were with Crazy Town. You just had that guy that was from Clarksville that was telling you go here, go there, that arranged it. And then after that, it was all Crazy Town saying this is what we're doing.
Yep.
And then you guys were independent. We're like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to go on these tours. We're going to go on these dates.
Yeah, we never had a label back us at all. Everything you've ever seen from us is 100% independent.
That's really cool. So, I mean, what would be the purpose of going with a label? To get a bigger audience?
I personally would not go with a label.
Because it's just kind of a way. You've been doing everything yourself. Or like, why have somebody else come in and take our money?
Exactly. So
okay.
a label will front you money and then you're paying them back for ever, and they own your masters and this, that, and the other. So why should somebody sit at a desk and make money off of me when I'm doing all the work,
That's very true. No, that's good to know that's, and your whole band stands like that. They're all cool with
100%.
But Crazy Town, are they with a label still? Weren't they with RCA or?
They've been on a couple different labels. I'm not exactly sure what they're doing right now. I know Shifty was talking about putting the new album out as an independent artist so he can, make 100% of the profit and do all that because they have such a big following still.
Right.
But I don't know if he's wanting to shop around or what for a label. So, have you had him on the show yet?
No, you gotta hook it up. Well, I know he got married, right? And he was being all shy the last time we all hang out. Because you guys said he was getting married, and so I was like,
yeah, he's a down to earth guy, but he's a lot more calm than he was back in his younger days.
Oh yeah, wasn't he on Celebrity Rehab?
A couple times.
Yeah, no, I'd love to have him on though. I mean, this probably is the perfect time because there's some downtime. Maybe because you're on, I'll be like, hey, come on. That'd be cool. I mean, especially if they're getting ready to release something new. That's always cool. So right now, where can we get all of your music from?
If you want to look at anything I have, the best place to do it now is on Instagram. I am on a not supporting Facebook kick at all. So I'm going to run everything through my Instagram, even though they kind of own each other or whatever. One of them owns the other. But I'm going to be more active on Instagram than anything else. And all the links and everything will be on my Instagram.
So, I mean, like Spotify and all that, we can go.
Oh, yeah. We're on Spotify, which I also hate. We're on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, any music app.
I feel you. It's like a necessary evil, like, all these different platforms you have to be on. I totally get it.
Well, I mean, Spotify, I don't know if you've ever heard, they catch a lot of hell. They don't pay artists like anything. I think you have to get each one of your plays is like 0.008 cents.
Wow.
So you have to get like thousands and thousands of streams just to make a couple dollars. Versus iTunes, you're paying, either you're paying a monthly subscription or you're buying a single for 99 cents.
Wow, that's interesting. When you guys are with the band, who writes most of everything that comes out, most of the lyrics?
Lyric wise, I write most all of them. My drummer and guitar player, Adam and Randall, they write most of the instrumentals by themselves. So they'll come up with a drum beat and a guitar. I mean, those guys are like, when they get together, they could create so quickly, and it's so cool to just sit and listen to them come up with something, and then I'll just sit in the corner and write lyrics to it and say, hey, you guys like this, and put it together like that.
Wow, that's cool that that's how it's done. So they like your lyrics. They're like, you came in the lyric man.
I honestly think sometimes they won't even know the lyrics until I record the song. It's so loud at practice. They're just like, yeah, you sound good. I don't know what the hell you're saying, but it's cool.
So Subliminal, if you could perform with anybody, you've already performed with Crazy Town, who would be like your dream person to perform with?
To perform with? Oh, that's a hard question. I like so many things. It depends on what genre. If it were a punk rock band, because we're predominantly punk rock, I love like older stuff like Newfound Glory, Blink-182, Old Good Charlotte, and all that. But I went to Sum 41 in Nashville. Was the very last concert I've been to before the pandemic or whatever, and those guys kicked more ass than any band I've ever seen live. So I would love to play with those guys.
Right on. Okay, so what if you had to collaborate with anybody? Who would you want to collaborate with?
And that's a hard question too. Vocalist, I would want Burt McCracken from the Used to do a hook or something, or a verse on a song. That would be awesome.
What about like a guitarist?
I like my favorite guitarist, Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine, or I don't know. See, you're asking me questions I can give you like 1,000 answers to.
I know, they're hard. So Instagram is where you're going to tell us of what you're doing and where you're doing, and if you do any pop-ups. Are you thinking about doing pop-ups now?
I'm going to just work my ass off, and we're going to do a whole lot of everything. So if you want to get on my Instagram, Subliminal615, I'll be posting probably every day.
Nice. Well, everyone needs to follow you.
Right. Some of it will be a little bit of nonsense. You know, I get on there and post a goofy story every once in a while, but I'll be posting a lot of music, new videos if a show comes. So,
well, I can't wait.
What's your favorite band?
My favorite band ever?
Yeah.
Smashing Pumpkins is definitely up there.
Okay.
I saw them in concert and they were just fabulous.
I'm down with it.
Down a lot, but that's a totally different sound. So it's like it's very different.
Well, that whole era was probably, to me, the best music, where you had Soundgarden and Smashing Pumpkins and Old Nirvana, and there's a ton of bands I can name. All the '90s grunge and all that.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, those two bands are very that would be really cool to interview them. I'm sure that would never happen, but you never know.
Hey, you never know. You keep at it.
Thank you so much for coming on my show. I really appreciate it. It's taken over a year, but it was worth the wait.
I know it. Well, I'm here, and if you want me back, I'll come back on. I'll try to get you Shifty.
Yeah, you bring Shifty, bring the rest of your band, and we'll have a good time.
I got you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Everything Sparkle Show. This is an exciting episode because my father passed away 20 years prior. And it's exciting because not that he passed away, but that I have been alive this whole time trying to do great things for the world in his honor. So I know he would have been proud of this show, this episode, and this whole journey of Everything Sparkle. And I'm really excited about what we've done with the show. And I know that this makes him proud. To give you a little insight on how he was the funniest man you would ever meet, like ever. Just very inappropriate, like childish jokes all the way. Just think of like being in an event with a bunch of people that were important and someone just making just off the wall jokes, like fart jokes, poop jokes, something like that. That was my dad. And it was hysterical. And I love it. That's where I get my sense of humor from. So he was the nicest man in the world. Did so much for everybody. Like he gave everybody his time, especially his time. He was a worker. I think that's part of why I got my worker bee stuff, just always focused and always having all these jobs. That was my dad. He never stopped. He never sat down. He never sat still. He fell asleep on his chair all the time because he was always on the move. And I always thought it was because he's old, but now that I'm doing the same thing because I'm always working, running around from one thing to the next. So I inherited that from him as well. But even though he was always busy, he always made time for people that were important. He always made time for his family. He always made time for acquaintances and friends. Just anybody that wanted to talk, he made time for. Just a great human being. Anybody that needed help could reach out to him and have help. And then he always made sure that everybody got what they needed. A lot of times they would do big jobs and he would always make sure that a lot of his employees would get paid before he did on these big jobs that they were doing. He passed away tragically on a tractor accident when he was 49 years old. And it was really interesting because at that time in my life, I had just gotten a job writing for an ag magazine. I was writing for Western Agricultural Publishing, and they published 7 different ag magazines, like Grape Grower, Tree Fruit, Agribusiness, Field Man. So I had just gotten that job. I'd been writing for the Fresno Bee for a couple of years, and then I transitioned into writing about agriculture. And it wasn't that exciting to me, but my dad was really excited when he went with me to my first writing assignment. He was alive for that. We went. I had to tell him, what does this mean? I don't understand any of this. It was about a sulfur delumper. So he explained to me how the sulfur delumper works and all of that. And sadly, he died before that article was ever able to come out to print. But the people that were there that day, they reached out to me. They wrote me like a really nice letter about it and said they were sorry and everything. It was kind of a big news thing at the time. And so many people came to his funeral. I think there was like 700 or more people, if I remember correctly. I know that the venue couldn't hold everybody that came out to be there at that point. But yeah, he was just a terrific guy, and his memories are always there. And I wish I could share. I wish I had more footage. I wish it had been back when there were like cell phones and I could have just been videotaping him all the time, being great and being funny. I mean, there we have home videos, but of course that's not the same. But yeah, he was just an amazing person, and anybody who knew him and wants to talk to me about it, I am always wanting to talk about him. It was really cool because I have this friend, James LeBeau, and he actually knew my father, and I didn't know that until like after a year that we had been friends. He ended up seeing the obituary I posted last year, and then reached out to me and said, I knew your dad. Like, I totally knew this whole experience. And it was like, wow. And that was really interesting. It's when stuff like that you're like, you know, is this like meant to be? Is this like, you know, my dad always like watching out for me, you know, brought me this friend that happened to know him. So that was really cool. And just stuff like that keeps the memories going. Since then, my cousins have lost their father. I had one of my girl cousins, Crystal, she lost her father last year, at the end of last year. And then my other cousin, Aubrey, just lost her father on March 31st, the day after my birthday. And Aubrey's the one that does all the music for our show, Aubrey Danielle, on SoundCloud. So I know what they were going through, and it's very sad. And when people so young lose their dad, because I know all the challenges that they're going to face. And at this point, I've been alive longer without my father than with my father. So it's a very interesting perspective. And yeah, you become strong, but it's like, I'd rather not be strong. I'm just strong because I have to be, but I'd rather like not be strong and have my dad alive. That'd be like way more, better. But this is the hand you're dealt, and you just have to do the best you can with it. And this show is one of the ways that helps me cope. It's therapeutic for me. It's awesome. Like through this show, I've met so many awesome people every day. People ask me to define what everything sparkles about. And initially it was about people doing big things in a small town. It was a Fresno-based show. And then it grew to so much more. After COVID, I was able to do interviews with people around the world, just like how you saw today on today's show. There, we have a Canadian, we have someone from Nashville. So it's really cool that it's grown to this capacity. So it's no longer about people doing big things in a small town, because now I'm interviewing people from everywhere. But basically, if I could explain it, it's about people doing things. There are people that are talkers. They talk about all these things they want to do, and they don't do it, or they do it eventually. But the people I have on my show are doing things. They really go for it. Everybody, whether it's music, acting. I interviewed a few weeks ago somebody in video gaming, and that to me, I'm always like, oh, that's a waste of time. Well, they enlightened me on why they do it and how big it is, and that it actually can be lucrative. My producer of the show, he wrote this comic book, very elaborate comic book. It's actually a comic book series, and it's amazing. I mean, at first I'm like, who would do that? Who would spend their life savings and do something like that and write a comic book? And then you see it, and it's just like, wow. And it's like he had a vision that nobody else, could possibly see. And then he put it out there and made it happen. And that's incredible. The best thing about this show and like what I go through in this is just, hearing about something like, oh, okay, I'll interview them, whatever. They have this, they do that. That's really cool. And then they teach me something that I never knew. You go in with one perspective, and somebody totally enlightens you and gives you another one. And that's so cool. It's so cool when you could learn something, when you realize you don't know everything, but you love learning something new every day about somebody. That's just so cool. I learned about parental alienation a few episodes ago, the same one with the video gaming guys. And it was interesting, like all the responses I got for that was just really incredible and really amazing. And it's crazy because it's like what I'm going through, the worst thing you can have is, growing up without a parent. So to learn that one parent separates a child from another parent on purpose for like to be vindictive or whatever, it just completely blows my mind. And they must not know what it's like to grow up with one parent, or else they would never do something that horrible. And I love that, the girl that was talking about it and that's actively trying to do stuff. She's a doer. She's actually trying to get laws in place so that this doesn't happen anymore. And I honestly just met her on a movie set. She was writing a movie. I had a couple lines in like one of her short films. And then now she's on a whole mission to do something really cool. Like I said, people that are doing things, and it's, not the same as just having an 8 to 5 job and then that's it. That's all life is. You go home, you watch a movie, you go to bed, you wake up, you do it all over again. I'm interviewing people that will do that, their 8 to 5s, and then they go home and then work on their passion and spend tirelessly just, again, putting a vision that nobody sees but them. Or people have made their passion their job and they're able to be successful at it. I mean, just incredible people. So the best thing that anyone could do to for me and to honor my dad and make things keep going, just subscribe to the show, share the show, give me some good guests, and just keep watching. And hopefully your perspective gets enlightened like mine. I love my dad. His name was Sarkis Sujin. He's the one that named me Sparkle. People always ask me if that's my real name. It is. And he saw something in me that, every day I try to see myself and try to work to make that the vision that he had, the vision that God had, a reality, and to be the person that I'm supposed to be. And you can never take that away. I mean, he passed, but that still is there. I don't believe that time heals all wounds. It doesn't. Things get easier over time because you learn a perspective of how to process tragedies, but it doesn't get easier. It's just you find more of a purpose to keep going, and then you learn more about what your purpose is and how you can make that a reality. So thank you for watching.
Felt right in the moment, felt right in the summertime. It felt right drinking cherry wine with you. Just wanted to own it, just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here, oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here, oh, I must confess, dear, don't think I'm in love with you. Winter is coming and I don't know what to do, and there's no more use in running, no more running to you. And I don't want your loving, I don't wanna be just friends, knowing all this time we were playing pretend.
It's a mystery.